Hugo Ekitike is out for the rest of the season. And for Liverpool, this is not just a setback, it is a major blow. Some injuries take a player off the pitch. Others change the emotional and competitive shape of a team. Hugo Ekitike falls firmly into that second category. Liverpool have confirmed that the French forward will not play again this season after rupturing his Achilles tendon. In one of those moments, the whole stadium feels instantly. It happened against PSG at Anfield in the second leg of the Champions League quarterfinal, on a night that had already ended in a damaging elimination. And as if that was not cruel enough, Liverpool also lost one of their most important players of the season. Because the key point here is not only the medical seriousness of the injury, it is the scale of the sporting loss. Ekitike was not some squad extra. He was not a decorative option for rotation. He is Liverpool's top scorer this season, with 17 goals in all competitions and 11 in the Premier League alone. That, by itself, already destroys any attempt to frame this absence as something Liverpool can absorb without real damage. We are not talking about a useful player. We are talking about someone who is delivering, carrying attacking weight, and giving the side a clear reference point in the final third. And what makes it even heavier is that this injury hits exactly the kind of striker profile that matters enormously in English football. The Premier League does not forgive teams that lose presence in the box, depth in behind, and the ability to turn transition moments into genuine threat. Ekitike gave Liverpool exactly that. He was not important only because of the goals. He mattered because he kept attacks alive, pushed defensive lines back, occupied center backs, attacked long spaces, and offered a threat that forced opponents to defend differently. That kind of player changes the geometry of a game. And when he disappears, the impact is not only visible in the numbers, it shows up in the way the team itself is defended. That is the bit rushed analysis usually ignores. People will say, Liverpool have lost a striker. No, they have lost a mechanism. They have lost a central function inside their attacking structure. Because a forward like Ekitike does not only help when he finishes chances, he helps by pinning the last line, opening lanes for runners from deeper areas, speeding attacks up in very few touches, and turning possession into concrete threat. Without that, Liverpool run the risk of becoming more predictable, easier to control, and more dependent on sterile attacking volume, without the same level of genuine aggression. And this hurts even more because of the timing. Liverpool were already coming off a damaging exit against PSG, beaten to 0 at Anfield and knocked out for 0 on aggregate. So this is not a bad piece of news arriving in the middle of a calm moment. It is one blow landing straight after another. That is how elite football works sometimes. The problem is not always just losing technical quality. Sometimes it is losing stability, losing confidence, losing margin for error. And when your main attacking reference suddenly disappears at the business end of the season, what once looked manageable starts becoming urgent. There is also the human side, and that should not be treated like a footnote. He is 23 years old. He was in an important stage of his career, establishing himself at a huge club, making a real impact in major competition, and pushing for a bigger role with France. Now, on top of missing the rest of the season, he will also miss the next World Cup. That is brutal because an Achilles rupture is not some minor pause. It is a serious, long recovery that affects rhythm, confidence, explosiveness, acceleration, and even the way a player trusts his own body once he comes back. So there is no point romanticizing resilience as if recovery were some motivational trailer. It is going to be hard, full stop. From Liverpool's point of view, the question now is less emotional and more structural. How do they compensate for this? Because replacing numbers is one thing. Replacing function is something else entirely. Can they spread the goals around the squad? Maybe. Can they fully recreate what he gives them in depth, mobility, and penalty box presence? That is a very different conversation. And that is exactly where strong teams are separated from merely enthusiastic ones. A strong squad is not one that simply has recognizable names on the bench. It is one that can absorb a major loss without tearing apart its collective identity. And that is Liverpool's test now. Not just surviving without Ekitike, but proving that the attack was not so dependent on him that it stalls when he is gone. Because having a top scorer is one thing, becoming hostage to him is another. And honestly, the next few matches will show which version of this Liverpool side is the real one. If they keep their aggression, their attacking coordination, and their ability to create real threat, then fair enough. But if they turn into a side built on sterile possession, aimless crossing, and lots of circulation with very little bite, then his absence will become impossible to ignore. In the end, Hugo Ekitike's injury is not just sad news. It is news that could reshape Liverpool's final stretch and directly affect the team's competitive level. He mattered on the score sheet, he mattered in the system, and he mattered in the way Liverpool hurt opponents. Losing a player like that is never a minor detail. Not in a season where every point, every run, and every emotional response carries weight. Now I want to hear from you. Do Liverpool have the structure to absorb a loss of this size without dropping off? Or could Ekitike's absence completely change the direction of their run-in?